let me brief you about this course. This course will be of interest to you if you are completely new to personality types, or you have a little knowledge of personality, or you have got a little knowledge of personality, and you just want to rephrase it, or rebrush it. So this course will particularly be a refresher for you. Okay, so before we proceed, let's look at some of the definitions of personality. Okay, so Oxford English Dictionary defines personality as the combination, as a combination of characteristics or the quality that forms an individual's distinct characters. The Encyclopedia of Psychology goes a bit deeper. It defines personality refers to individual differences in characteristic patterns. Okay, the Encyclopedia of Psychology goes a little bit deeper. It defines personality refers to the individual difference in characteristic patterns of thinking, feeling, and behavior. Okay, so there's two things that we have been always working around is that there are two things, personality and behavior. Many a times we actually mix the two things, that is personality and the behavior. Okay, personality is all about you, while that behavior on the other hand is what you do. Okay, so to make it more precise, personality is a little bit broader than behavior and includes your interest, values, attitude, and temperaments. Okay, so personality is enduring, stable, it's less changeable. Okay, I will never say those who are into personality that the personality does not changes, although we say that it's less changeable. Okay, and again, it's not always visible. The personality is not always visible. Yes, we have different methods where while we will be covering is this particular course, that what are the how you can understand what kind of personality you have, or your partners or any person in your organization have. While behavior, it can be temporary, it can be specific to certain circumstances or certain context, and that is what the people observe. This is what the people see you. Okay, so when we talk about behavior, it basically that what the people see you. We are all working at the same level of awareness. We are all working at the same level of awareness. A lot of organizations with the personality in different ways. There are many organizations that ignores personality differences. Some recognizes the personality differences exist, but they evaluate them in the negatively and trivialize them. Say for example, I during my entire understanding in the HR, I have seen many people who are into understanding of the personality. They understand that okay, this kind of personality is there. He has now that personality has been triggered or grouped into a negative kind of environment, and they has been trivialized and always treated in a negative manner, rather than understanding why actually the person is behaving in a particular manner. Okay, and but there are also some organization that accepts the personality differences. They are moving towards valuing and adapting to the personality difference, and they somehow really enlighten the organization's interest and leverages the personality difference to the advantage of everybody who works with them. Okay, so each and every personality type, during my course, I will say this statement again and again. Each of the personality type has got its own strength and weakness. None of the personality type of any form is good or bad. Okay, it's all about that they have something in different characteristics. Okay, so what is going on within your organization, that you have to first categorize and understand that. Okay, there can be a number of way the challenges of at works where an understanding of the personality will be helpful. Okay, this is a small chart that you are seeing on your screen. That is the challenges of work that we face. In teamwork, there is a lack of team collaboration. In conflict, where there is open and or hidden conflict. In changes, where the people are unprepared for the changes. in communication, especially in communication breakdowns, in stress, and looking the cycle of the stress and understanding what causes the stress in one people but not in other, and in leadership where sometimes the leaders are misguided. Understanding your own and the other personality type can be a vital step by acknowledging the difference and the working through these challenges. Some people think that they are great at reading personality, but this is open to scrutiny. Even whatever being a practitioner of personality and trying to identify personality, even my reading can undergo scrutiny. Okay, because there are two things that you need to understand. One is that all the tests that is conducted should be follow the two things. One is what we call as reliability, another is called as validity. Reliability is that when the test has been conducted again and again and gives the same response with different kind of population, then it becomes reliable. And it's valid when the test has follows the all the four criteria of the validity. Okay, so before we go dig deep into current or practicing personality assessment tools. Okay, let's go into a little bit of our ancient culture that was there. It was the first is basically is called as the four temperament theory. It is a proto psychological theory which suggests that there are four fundamental personality types. Okay, first is your sanguine, sanguine, then choleric, melancholy, and then phlegmatic. This is the combination, and this was given by Hippocrates in around 460 to 370 BC. Okay, before Christ. Okay, this was basically based on your what we call as humerus, that is the body fluid. So basically the personality type was depend upon the kind of body fluid. But although in current scenario most of the medical practitioner does not accept this thing, or most of the practitioner into clinical psychology does not accept that thing. But yes, further analysis has been done on this thing, and many researchers have now said that yes, a combination of all the four different temperament actually works, and it gives us the proper guidance of the different personality type. So basically, when we are working, most of the individual tends to have aspects of the personality type, which identifies that each of the four temperament. However, there are usually one or two primary temperament that are displayed at a significance higher level. Okay, so for example, one says, for example, just a moment. Okay, for example, if we have got sanguine, okay, so sanguine will be the leading temperament theory supported by some of others. Okay, the variability of the different temperaments or the four different temperaments may vary, and those in which will be the higher on the basis of the different medical history, or the what we call as the humus. It will be basically giving you the characteristic more according to the personality type which is more popular. Okay, so for basically, so if you find that there are the artistic people are more into a sanguine type. We'll go into a little detail of that, not much big deeper into that for temperament theory. Okay, because we will be concentrating on the other personality or the psychometric test. Okay, so let's take the first one. Sanguine personality type is described primarily as being highly talkative, enthusiastic, active, and social. Sanguines tends to be more extroverted and enjoy being a part of the crowd. They find that being social, outgoing, and charismatic is easy to accomplish individual with the and easy to accomplish. Individuals with this personality have a hard time doing nothing and engage in more risk and seeking behavior. So there will be always people who will be not going, they will be always fun kind of person. So they cannot sit idle. So the sanguine people cannot sit idle, they will start getting bored. Okay. So next is your choleric. Choleric individuals tends to be more extroverted. They are described as independent, decisive, goal oriented, and ambitious. They are combined with the dominant result oriented outlook, make them the natural leaders. In Greek, medieval, and Renaissance thoughts, they were also violent and short tempered. Okay, so at one time, sanguine are basically, the person who are more into risk seeking behavior. The choleric were more short tempered. Okay, so you can make a assumption on the different graphical representation. That is the representation. If you, even if you see on the Google, you will find the same. Even if you go there, you will find that it is there. Next is that next of them is called as the melancholic. Melancholic individual tends to be analytic and detail oriented. Okay, now melancholic, basically they are introverted and try to avoid. They try to avoid the they are not person who likes to be in the crowd. Okay, they are leads to be a self-reliant reliant individual who are thoughtful, reserved, and often anxious. They often strive for the perfection within themselves. Okay, so at just you see the position of sanguine and melancholy, they are just opposite or diagonally opposite to that. Okay, so at one side you have sanguine who are more interested into going into crowd, talking about themselves, talkative, extroverted. The melancholy are just opposite to them, and they are introverted and do not want to talk to other people and remain silent among themselves. Okay, they are very detail oriented. Okay, next is your phlegmatic. Now, phlegmatic individual tends to be relaxed, peaceful, quiet, and easygoing. They are sympathetic and care about the others, yet they try to hide their emotions. Phlegmatic individuals are good at analyzing the idea or problem to the word and making compromises. Okay. Now, while you see about the choleric, they do not compromise. They just have being a short tempered, and they are dominant, result oriented. They while the phlegmatic. Okay, so these are some strengths and weaknesses of the sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, and melancholic. That details this PPT will be shared with you by the host of the project. No, Sajid, I will be sharing you all the details, so it's not a big deal for us. Okay, so before we go, that to understand the behavior and the personality framework that we will be looking now after the four temperament theory. It was basically developed by Carl Jung. Okay, it is most widely framework across the world and is provided as the positive universal language, a framework which differentiate that can be explored in a positive manner. Okay, it's relatively easy to understand, but it is a great depth for continued exploration and has a wide range of application. uh, mm, I will come to that once. I will keep on explaining. So I will try to explain each and every component and the part of the the behavioral preferences theory made by Carl Jung. Okay, the way in which it should be used is to enhance the awareness and the impact of preferences. Okay, before I go further, what I would ask you to just take a sheet of paper, keep the sheet of paper in front of you, and a pen in front of you. Okay, because we will be practicing something. I think Sajid, you have already sent the mail that was I asked you to send it to you.
Yes.
Okay, so just get a piece of paper okay, and a pen keep in front of you. Okay, what the first thing I want you to do is to write your name. If you are a right hander, write your name with the right hand. If you are a left hander, write your name with the left hand. Okay, done. So just change the hand. Okay, if you are a right hander, change the pen from right hand to left hand, and if you are a left hander, change it from left hand to right hand, and just try to write the name next to what you have written with your working hand. Okay, you can keep on writing on the your chat box. Okay, so that I will keep on responding to that, because it's video is not possible because there is some internet connection. I will try to trying to figure it out. Okay, so which was easy to do? Which was easy to do, with your working hand or on the other one? Here, so everyone, what I am getting response here is that they have been the working hand was quite easy, while you have been the other hand that you have been trying to write it. The it was more of a childish like of handwriting, and at the same it was difficult to write with that other with the other hand, not with the working hand. Okay, why it happened? It happened because you have been preferring to write with your working hand. The why you write with when you keep on writing with your working hand, prefer to write on the working hand, the writing with the working hand gets improved, and the writing, the style of writing and everything becomes good. Okay, so basically when you were quite small, when you started writing for the first time, you selected right hand or left hand, also upon depending upon the environmental factors, you selected right hand or left hand to be your working hand, and keep on developing that. Okay, so basically your entire processes what we have been talking around is to understand. Yeah, it's because of the practices. So it's basically developing that preferences, and once that preferences has been developed, it becomes your personality. So to define yourself as a personality, you say that this person is either a right hander or a left hander. So now being a right hander or a left hander is becoming a part of your personality. Okay, so got my point. So your preferences actually becomes your personality. It's not that the person who is writing with the left hand is good or bad. It's not that the person who is writing with the right hand is good or bad. Both of them are equally good, but at the same time it is there because of the preferences of a particular behavior that has become the part of the personality. So it's relatively easy to understand, but it is in the great depth to continue exploration and wide range of application. The way in which it should be used to enhance the awareness of the impact of the preferences on the other, as well as the understanding of strengths, and basically when we are talking about the blind spots, it can be used in individual team, in organizational application, or it can be used or very useful in working and developing the team. Okay, so we will be looking around all the different kinds of preferences, preferential behaviors, and on that it has also a very useful good place in leadership development. It enables the leader to able to understand, flex, and adapt to a different style according to the need of the individual they are working with.